Hello, esteemed gentlemen. True intelligence isn't loud. It whispers quietly while the world is distracted by the noise. A Sigma male might not even realize how sharp his mind truly is. Research shows that the most intelligent individuals often underestimate their own abilities, preferring to observe and analyze rather than boast. But that doesn't make them any less formidable. It makes them dangerous in the most unexpected ways. While others seek validation and loud recognition, the Sigma male is busy dissecting the complexities of life, shaping his reality while everyone else is just trying to keep up. His brilliance lurks in the shadows, revealing itself in small, strategic bursts that can reshape entire situations. It's time to unveil the signs that prove he's far more intelligent than even he might think. Signs that, once understood, change the entire game. Number 1. The rebel wrapped in Stoicism. A Sigma male embodies the essence of a rebel, but he does it with a calm, almost deceptive exterior. He's the type who questions the status quo, not for attention or to make a scene, but because he genuinely sees through the cracks in the system. To the outside world, he looks composed, unfazed, and even stoic, but there's a fire burning beneath that calm surface. He knows the rules, he plays by them when it serves him, but he's never truly confined by them. It's like a game where he's mastered the manual, but secretly rewrites his own version whenever it suits his strategy. What makes him different is that his rebellion isn't about loud defiance, it's about subtle defiance. He doesn't need to argue or challenge others outright. Instead, he quietly dismantles ideas that don't add up, steering clear of unnecessary debates. His mind is always working behind the scenes, analyzing why things are the way they are and where the gaps lie. He isn't afraid to act against the grain, but he'll do it in a way that doesn't draw unwanted attention. There's a kind of strength in knowing when to hold back, a power in keeping his cards close to his chest. People might mistake him for being passive or indifferent, but he's simply playing a longer game. He doesn't seek validation from others because he knows that true freedom comes from understanding the rules, but never letting them define you. When he decides to challenge the norm, it's calculated, almost surgical. He knows precisely when to strike and when to fade into the background, leaving everyone around him wondering how he's always one step ahead. This blend of rebellion and restraint is what makes him not just different, but exceptionally dangerous in his own quiet way. At number 2, MultiDimensional Thinker with a twist. A Sigma male's mind doesn't just think in straight lines, it bends, twists, and reshapes thoughts like a mental architect. While most people see things as black or white, he's seeing every shade of gray in between. He's constantly considering multiple angles, perspectives, and potential outcomes, making his thinking layered and multidimensional. This isn't the kind of overthinking that leads to indecision. It's strategic, a way to see what others miss. When he looks at a situation, he's not just analyzing what's in front of him, but also the undercurrents, the hidden motives, and the consequences that might unfold 5 steps down the road. This type of thinking means he's rarely caught off guard. He prepares for different scenarios, often anticipating problems before they even arise. To others, it might seem like he's distant or preoccupied, but in reality, he's calculating, mentally playing out scenarios like a chess master. He can hold conflicting ideas in his mind and find value in both, seeing how they interconnect. It's not about finding the right answer. It's about understanding the complexity of the question itself. What sets him apart is that he doesn't settle for surface-level explanations. If he's reading or learning about something, he's diving deep, challenging accepted wisdom, and looking for the patterns that others might miss. This makes him a rare thinker in a world that often prefers quick answers over deeper understanding. He's comfortable in ambiguity, able to see connections between seemingly unrelated ideas, and this ability often leads him to insights that others might never stumble upon. People might see him as over-analytical or too complex, but that's because he's playing a different game entirely. His mind is constantly weaving threads between ideas, making him the kind of person who can see the entire tapestry while everyone else is still focused on a single thread. Number 3. Invisible architect of power dynamics. A Sigma male understands power in a way that few others do. He knows it's not always about being loud or taking center stage. Instead, he subtly shifts the balance of power, making adjustments that might go unnoticed by others but change the entire game in his favor. He has an intuitive grasp of influence and control, knowing when to step in and when to let things unfold on their own. While many scramble for the spotlight, he's working from the shadows, pulling the strings without ever needing to declare his intentions. He can read a room like a book, sensing who holds influence, who's vying for attention, and who's just along for the ride. It's not manipulation in the obvious sense. It's more like he has an innate sense of how to guide situations toward outcomes that suit him. If there's a conflict or a power struggle, he's the one who steps back, watches, and nudges things in a direction that benefits him when the time is right. It's a skill that comes from understanding people deeply, knowing what drives them, and using that knowledge to steer dynamics without ever seeming pushy or forceful. What makes this approach so effective is his ability to make others feel like they're the ones in control, even when they're playing right into his hands. He's the person who can plant an idea and let someone else run with it, all while maintaining his own distance. He doesn't need credit, doesn't need the recognition, just the satisfaction of knowing that things are moving according to his design. This ability to shift the currents of influence while staying under the radar is what makes him so quietly powerful. He's not seeking dominance. He's mastering the art of subtle sway, turning situations to his advantage while everyone else is too busy talking to notice. At number 4, Chaos Conductor Extraordinaire. A Sigma male is a master of controlled chaos. He doesn't just survive in the unpredictable, he thrives in it, bending disorder to fit his needs. Where others panic when things don't go according to plan, he sees opportunity. He knows that life rarely unfolds in a neat, orderly fashion, so he's learned to adapt quickly, to find clarity in confusion, and to make the unpredictable work for him. Chaos doesn't intimidate him. It's a familiar terrain where he can maneuver freely while others are still trying to find their footing. This ability to navigate the unexpected gives him a distinct edge. He can take situations that appear to be falling apart and find ways to make them benefit him. It's not that he invites chaos, but when it arrives, he's ready. He's calm when others are scrambling, and it's that calmness that allows him to see the hidden paths and opportunities that come from a bit of disorder. He uses this ability to reshape situations, turning setbacks into stepping stones while others get caught up in the drama. His mind works like a crisis management center, sorting through the noise, filtering out what's unimportant, and focusing on the parts that can be leveraged. It's not just about being flexible or quick on his feet. It's about understanding that unpredictability is a constant, and instead of resisting it, he harnesses it. He knows that the ability to control chaos isn't about forcing order onto it, but about riding the wave and making adjustments as he goes. This skill allows him to stay several steps ahead, making moves that others can't anticipate. While most people are trying to return to a sense of normalcy, he's already using the disorder to his advantage. It's in the chaos where he finds his edge, where he can set the pace and make the unpredictable work in his favor. Number 5, loyalty to growth, not to individuals. A Sigma male's loyalty is unwavering, but it isn't directed toward people. It's directed toward his own growth. He's committed to evolving, learning, and pushing himself beyond his limits. This self-driven focus means he won't tie himself down to anyone who doesn't align with his journey. He's not about cutting people off recklessly, but he has no problem distancing himself from those who hold him back. While others might cling to friendships out of habit or obligation, he evaluates connections based on whether they enrich his path or drain his energy. This might make him seem detached, but it's not because he's cold-hearted. It's because he understands that true loyalty starts with being loyal to oneself. He's not going to sacrifice his potential for the comfort of staying the same or maintaining relationships that don't grow with him. If a friendship or relationship fits into the larger puzzle of his development, he's all in. But the moment it becomes a stumbling block, he won't hesitate to step back. This self-first approach makes him almost immune to the guilt that often traps others in unfulfilling connections. He's willing to make hard decisions, knowing that in the long run, they're necessary for his progress. It's not about being selfish. It's about recognizing that you can't pour from an empty cup. By focusing on his growth, he ensures that when he does give to others, he's giving from a place of strength and abundance, not obligation. To some, this might seem ruthless, but he sees it as the only way to stay true to himself. He refuses to compromise on his standards or ambitions, understanding that a half-hearted version of himself serves no one. His loyalty to self-growth is what keeps him moving forward, regardless of who comes along or drifts away. It's the quiet, relentless drive to become better than he was yesterday, every single day. Number 6. Unconventional prioritization of time. Time alchemist. A Sigma male views time as his most valuable currency, and he spends it with a level of precision that others often find perplexing. He's not interested in following society's typical timelines or conventions about how time should be used. Instead, he crafts his own priorities, placing his energy where he knows it will matter the most, even if those choices don't make sense to others. To him, time is not something to fill. It's something to invest, and he's strategic about where and with whom he invests it. This means he's not going to waste hours on shallow small talk or pointless social events that don't serve his growth or interests. He prefers meaningful conversations and experiences, the kind that spark new thoughts or challenge his perspectives. He's not antisocial, but he's selective. If he's with you, you can be sure he's chosen to be there deliberately, not out of obligation. This can make him seem distant or aloof, but it's simply that he refuses to spread himself thin on things that don't genuinely move him. He might choose to dive into a niche hobby, dedicate days to mastering a new skill, or disappear into his own world to recharge and think. To him, these pursuits hold far more value than keeping up with trends or seeking superficial connections. This unconventional approach to time means he often seems out of sync with what others consider urgent. He's not rushing to keep up with the pace of society because he's setting his own. This prioritization isn't about being selfish or dismissive. It's about knowing that time is the one resource you can't get back. He's fully aware that the way he spends his hours shapes the kind of person he becomes, and he's not willing to let anyone else dictate that. He's playing by a different clock, one that's entirely his own, where every tick matters. Number 7. Reading beyond the obvious, decoding the hidden signals. A Sigma male has a knack for seeing beyond the obvious, constantly digging deeper than most people care to go. He isn't content with surface-level explanations or the easy answers that everyone else accepts without question. When he encounters a problem, he won't just look at what's in front of him. He'll dissect it, analyze the underlying causes, and question the assumptions others take for granted. It's almost like he has an internal compass that points him toward the hidden truths, the layers beneath the surface that others overlook. This mindset makes him a natural skeptic, but not in a cynical way. He just knows that what's presented on the surface is rarely the whole story. Whether it's analyzing human behavior, understanding social dynamics, or learning a new subject, he's always asking why and how, aiming to reach the core of the matter. It's this drive to understand the unspoken and the unseen that allows him to navigate life with a kind of quiet confidence. He's rarely caught off guard because he's already thought through the angles that others miss. His ability to read between the lines also makes him an excellent judge of character. He doesn't just listen to what people say, he pays attention to their actions, their body language, the pauses between their words. It's not about being paranoid, but about being perceptive enough to understand that there's often more going on than meets the eye. This depth of insight allows him to make decisions that others might not understand, but that are based on a richer understanding of reality. For him, the world isn't a flat surface, it's a maze of interwoven layers, and he's determined to navigate them all. It's this ability to read beyond the obvious that makes him unpredictable, but also gives him an edge in seeing opportunities, threats, and truths that most people overlook entirely. Number 8. Self-sustaining confidence. A Sigma male carries a self-sustaining confidence that doesn't need outside validation to thrive. He's built his self-worth from within, and that makes him immune to the approval or disapproval of others. This kind of confidence comes from knowing himself deeply, his strengths, his weaknesses, and everything in between. He's faced his flaws head-on, turned them inside out, and come out the other side without the need to prove himself to anyone. This inner certainty makes him unshakable, even in situations that would make most people second-guess themselves. He doesn't feel the urge to boast about his achievements or seek praise because he knows what he's capable of. Recognition is nice, but not necessary. He's driven by a personal sense of purpose and achievement, not by the applause of others. This allows him to move through the world with a kind of quiet assurance that can be both intriguing and intimidating to those who are used to louder displays of confidence. When he speaks, it's because he has something meaningful to say, not because he's trying to impress. This self-reliance also means he's comfortable standing alone. He doesn't need a crowd to feel validated or a group to reinforce his identity. Whether he's working solo on a project, pursuing his interests, or taking a path that others wouldn't dare, he's content with the company of his own thoughts. He's not looking for others to affirm his choices because he trusts his own judgment above all else. His confidence isn't flashy or loud. It's like a calm, steady flame that doesn't flicker even in a storm. It's the type of confidence that draws respect, not because he demands it, but because it's clear that he respects himself. It's a rare trait. This ability to be completely self-assured without ever needing to make it known, and it's what makes him a force to be reckoned with in a world that often confuses noise with strength. Number 9. Detached from public opinion, immune to mainstream noise. A Sigma male exists in a realm detached from popular opinion, viewing the world through a lens of critical thought rather than blind acceptance. While many are swept up in trends, social pressures, and the latest fads, he remains grounded in his beliefs and values, often choosing to march to the beat of his own drum. This detachment is not born from a desire to rebel for the sake of rebellion. It stems from a profound understanding that popularity is often fleeting and superficial. He recognizes that what's celebrated today can be forgotten tomorrow, and he refuses to stake his identity on something so transient. This ability to detach from the noise of mainstream culture allows him to think freely and creatively. He's not afraid to challenge the status quo or to ask the tough questions that make others uncomfortable. In a world where conformity often rules, he stands as a beacon of individuality, demonstrating that true strength lies in authenticity. He isn't concerned about fitting in. Instead, he seeks to discover what resonates with him personally. This leads to a unique perspective on life, one that is shaped by his own experiences and insights rather than the opinions of those around him. Moreover, this detachment gives him a significant advantage in decision-making. While others may rush to align themselves with popular beliefs or trends, he takes the time to evaluate the underlying implications. He's not swayed by the latest social media craze or the opinions of influencers. Instead, he bases his choices on careful consideration, drawing from his internal compass rather than external validation. This independence of thought fosters resilience, enabling him to remain steady in the face of societal pressures. In a culture obsessed with likes, shares, and instant gratification, a Sigma male's ability to detach from popular opinion is both refreshing and empowering. It allows him to carve out his own path, grounded in principles that matter to him, ultimately leading to a life that is genuinely his own. This independence not only strengthens his character, but also inspires others to question the narratives they've been told and to seek their own truths. In a world that often values conformity over individuality, the Sigma male stands out as a testament to the power of self-awareness and authenticity. His intelligence isn't just measured by traditional standards. It's evident in his ability to navigate life with purpose, insight, and an unwavering commitment to personal growth. From his mastery of subtle power dynamics to his profound detachment from societal expectations, he embodies a unique blend of strength and independence that challenges the status quo. This exploration into the Sigma male's exceptional traits reveals a man who knows himself deeply, prioritizes his time wisely, and engages with the world on his own terms. In doing so, he encourages others to think critically, embrace their uniqueness, and pursue their own paths. As we delve into the complexities of human behavior and relationships, it's essential to foster a community that values these discussions and the wisdom they bring. If you found this exploration intriguing and want to dive deeper into the world of extraordinary individuals, we invite you to subscribe and join our vibrant community. Together, we can continue to unravel the layers of thought and behavior that shape our lives, empowering each other to embrace our unique journeys. Join us and be part of a conversation that celebrates authenticity and challenges the ordinary.